Turning, looking,
It is Game 2 of a 3-game set between the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees, and we have an all-star pitching matchup. Shane McClanahan versus nasty Nestor Cortez, a junior. My recap, your reactions, coming up next. This is Yankees Game Night. Well now, how are you guys doing? I hope you're in as good a mood as I am. The Yankees are now 30 games over 500 in the middle of June.
More of that, please.
Despite picking up just 3 hits tonight, they managed to get the victory. And if this was a video game, I would turn up the difficulty because the Yankees are just stampeding the American League right now. The Rays are a good team, but the Yankees just rolled right over them. 2 straight, they win the series. And look, this team has been getting a lot of comparisons to the 1998 team just because of the hot start. I mean, that team was also roughly 30 games over at this point. I think they ended up 60-21 at the break or something like that. Really hot start, led to an unbelievable season. So a lot of people who witnessed that are starting to get those flashbacks, those feelings that you had during the 1998 season. I watched every single game in 1998, and you just felt like no matter who they were playing, who the pitching matchup was, no matter who was injured, Bernie went down for a while, what adversity you faced, Darryl Strawberry getting cancer, you just knew that they were better than whomever they were going to play, and they were going to come out there and win. And that's what you're starting to feel with this team. I mean, I'm not saying this team would beat the 98 team. I don't think they're as good as the 98 team, but they're handling their opposition in a very similar manner. Just buzzsaw right through the American League. So a round of applause for the Yankees. 30 games over 500 in the middle of June. So before we get started with the recap, I have to send out very special birthday wishes to a couple of my all-time favorite Yankees. I doubt they're watching, but on the off chance that they are, as somebody that knows them is watching, Andy Pettitte, 50 years young today. It just seems like yesterday I was watching his Major League debut. Many happy returns to him. And also Wade Boggs, 64 years young today. He somehow has more hair now than when he played 20 years ago. Also, the Yes Network broadcast said that he would have been 64 today, implying that he's dead, but Wade Boggs is very much alive. Round of applause for Wade Boggs still being alive. Nestor Cortez got the start for the Yankees. He worked a scoreless first inning, and that was positive for him because he's coming off of a rough start. You could tell from the beginning that his cutter was not quite as sharp as it has been earlier in the season, but he managed to put up a good start anyway. We got a quick super chat. Reminder to hold your super donos until after the recap. Nestor Cortez, he seemed like he was confident. Like he wasn't shy of throwing strikes after getting hit hard by the Twins, which is something that I was a little bit worried about. I was like, well, he hasn't been roughed up in a while. Is he going to nibble? But no, he came right after the Rays today. Bottom one, Aaron Judge had an outstanding at-bat against Shane McClanahan, who came in with a sub-2 ERA, fouled off a bunch of tough pitches before depositing one
that ball is high. It is
into the right field seats. 25 home runs for Judge this year. He's the first player in the major leagues to get to 25 home runs. He leads by 7, I believe, over the nearest, over the second place guy or whatever. It's, however you say that. Both pitchers settled down after that for a while. Nestor retired 8 in a row to get through the top of the 5th. Bottom 5, Josh Donaldson led off the inning with a moderately routine fly ball to right center field. But the center fielder dropped it, and that's the second day in a row that a Rays outfielder has dropped a ball. Ended up being a big play in the game because 2 batters later, Kyle Higashioka punished one to left field.
It is far. It is gone.
3rd home run of the season for Kyle Higashioka. That made it 4-0. All 3 runs in that inning were unearned. Reyes got to Nestor in the top of the 6th. He ended up going 5 1/3. He left runners on 1st and 2nd, but Wandy Peralta did a really nice job to escape the jam. Now, I had a belt poll early before the game finished. And we had enough votes to where we had a clear winner, but I was surprised that nobody voted Peralta because I thought Peralta's inning and 2/3 tonight were outstanding. So really nice job for him. Final line for Nestor, 5 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. So better than last time, more walks than usual. He hasn't been as precise with the cutter the last couple of times out, but tonight, good enough. Really nice job. More of that.
More of that, please.
Nestor's ERA, by the way, down to 1.94. 20-minute delay in the 8th inning while Aaron Boone argued with the umpires. Now, I'm going to be fully honest with you guys. I took my dog out to pee while that was happening. I saw that Boone was walking out. It took a few seconds, maybe a minute. I come back in, and they're still talking, and I missed some of it. And it sounds like because there was a pitching change where Matt Blake, or a mound visit by Matt Blake, and then Boone came right out, they couldn't make the pitching change or whatnot. And after the delay, which went like 20 minutes, the Rays picked up a couple of quick hits, a couple of quick runs, and cut the lead to 4-3. But Clay Holmes came in for the 9th and absolutely dominated. Just a fantastic outing for him. He continues to throw just impossibly disgusting stuff. 31 consecutive scoreless innings. And the Yankees pick up win number 46.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
More of that, please.
All right, so what do you guys think about the belt? Should we hand it out? Kyle Higashioka.
Let's go. Belt winner.
Douglas Rao says, it's hard to be a middle reliever. People remember when you blow the game, but remember the hitters who got the deciding hits while you keep the other team off the board. Yeah, it's one of those things where, victory has 1,000 fathers, right? But defeat is an orphan. If you have a game where a lot of people play well, you typically remember the big hit, the big pitch. But if you lose, it's almost always the guy who gave it up, right? I see a lot of comments about about Aaron Hicks. He had a rough night tonight. He swung at some really bad pitches, looked pretty awful out there, and that seems to be, no pun intended, par for the course with him, at least a few times a week. Let's go ahead and take a look at the box score, and we'll get a closer look. Catherine Sorrow says, Peralta's good work wouldn't have mattered if Higashioka hadn't homered. You're 100% right. All right, so let's take a look at this box score here. Yankees win 4-3. As you can see, the Rays out-hit them 7-3. 1 error for each side. Cortez with his 6th win of the season. He's got a 1.94 ERA. McClanahan with his 3rd loss actually got a lower ERA, 1.84. Clay Holmes, lowest ERA of all. It's like that meme with the owner of WWF, I forget his name, McMahon, where it's like, it has the 6 columns, and on one side it has escalating situations, and on the right side it's got his escalating reactions. That's how it feels looking at these ERAs. Clay Holmes, 11th save of the year. He has supplanted Aroldis Chapman for that closer role in the critical situations, according to Aaron Boone. But Clay Holmes, dominating. Yankees only get 3 hits, one of them by Judge, the home run, one of them by Higashioka, the 3-run home run, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa had the other. It was a line drive through the right side. He's been swinging the bat well the last couple of nights. He is up to 274 on the year. OPS not crazy high, but still higher than Aaron Hicks, who's 0 for 3 with 3 big strikeouts tonight. As you can see, the home run for Judge was number 25. We talked about that. Gleyber Torres got picked off. And then just taking a look at the pitching, 2 runs charged to Castro. I believe they came on hits allowed by Litke, though. Litke's ERA remains at 4.08. And, yeah, nice night for the Yankees.
More of that, please.
Casella says, I want Judge to get the silent treatment on his next home run. I'm not sure why. Is it like a milestone? I don't think so. Because, I mean, typically you only get the silent treatment when it's like one of those, I don't know, strange kind of or situational kind of moments. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. Spaghetti says, why did Higgy's home run not count as an earned run? Because the out that was lost by the error counts as one of the previous outs in the inning, and then like if you get to 3 outs, anything that scores after that is a unearned run. So even he could have given up 10 home runs in a row, and they wouldn't have been earned runs. Lori C says Mets lead down to 4 games. Braves have been red hot. Did they win again tonight? Wow, they're red hot. That would be 14 straight if they won tonight. Chris Powell says, pay Judge before the arbitration date.
I hardly agree.
It's time to get that man a blank check. He's been outstanding. Ashlyn says, it's been good to see how they can make some errors but still win. It's just different this year. I mean, just one error tonight. It's not like they were kicking the ball around. The play in the 9th inning by Rizzo, there was a ball hit hard at Rizzo. He knocked it down. Runner ended up beating it out. I felt like that should have been called an error. But hey, it is what it is. Derek Musciano says, Gallo's days have got to be numbered at this point. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, the Yankees seem to stick with him. They stick with their guys longer than we as fans typically would. I think tonight he was sitting, one, because he makes very little contact, and the pitcher for the Rays, Shane McClanahan, had one of the best, I guess, whiff percentages in baseball, the lowest contact rate. So, I mean, you add A and B together, and it just equals lots of strikeouts tonight. So I think they just decided to give Hicks a shot, but he struck out 3 times as well. So it was pretty much damned if you do, damned if you don't tonight. Pamela Davis says, DJ no longer that guy in the leadoff spot. Maybe try IKF there.
Just a bit outside.
I'm going to say that IKF needs to stay where he is. He doesn't get on base enough to be the leadoff man. Even though you do like those pesky kind of singles hitters, you want somebody who gets on base. And DJ at least gets on base. He's got a 733 OPS. Tough night for him tonight, but just about a week ago he had a couple of good games. So, I don't think I would make that switch yet, but I wouldn't blame you if you did. Let's see here. Saber says, during the offseason, we were all complaining about Boone, but personally, I think he's been great. He's got to get some credit for what he's done this year. I mean, it is not easy to be 30 games over 500. I don't care who your team is. I don't care who you've got. I mean, the Dodgers are loaded. They haven't done it. So, obviously, he's pushing all the right buttons. Now, he seems to have been a little bit more consistent with the lineup recently. I don't have the numbers to back this up, but it feels like pretty much every night it's Judge in the number 2 spot, Rizzo in the number 3 spot, Stanton in the number 4. So at least you got that middle of the order going pretty well. Now, occasionally Judge will hit lead off if you don't have somebody else in there to lead off, but that seems to be a rare occurrence. X-Wing says IKF is a bottom of the order type hitter. I agree.
Absolutely. Hey.
Yeah, he's one of those guys he's not like he's perfect for the bottom of the order, because if the middle of the order does their job and they take walks and they get on base, he's somebody who can slap them in with a base hit and just kind of keep the line moving, you don't want a ton of strikeouts at the bottom of the order because you've got them in the middle of the order. One Take Robbie says, what is your ideal use of Chapman? Assuming you keep him and don't deal him, I think, he could be you've already proven that you can win without him, right? And I don't trust him in the playoffs. Ideally, how I would use him is I would deal him to try and get some other prospects to try and get you something else. So that way you don't have to trade, some of the guys that you already like. But assuming they're going to use him and keep him in the bullpen, I think the way Aaron Boone is saying he's going to use him is the way to go. You use him when you got a 3-run lead and a good matchup coming up. You know what I mean? They got a couple of lefties, due up in the ninth. Ease him back in. If he goes on another one of those streaks like he had, in the beginning of the year or the beginning of last year, you could see more high leverage situations. But right now, Holmes is your closer. He's got to be. Fritz Walters says he thinks that DJ is injured. I don't know. He seems to be moving around pretty well. I mean, look, he's human. He's not going to hit 330, 340 every year. Most guys don't do that. Even, he kind of took the league by storm when he first got here, but I think the league is starting to pitch him a little bit differently. He's starting to see more changeups. They seem to be taking the approach of pitching him up and down, not so much in and out, because he's a guy who can, take the ball the other way if you pitch him outside or turn it on it if you pitch him inside, but he adjusts less well to pitches that are vertically different. So you'll see him on pitches that are high, especially high and away. He'll hit flyouts to right field. And then if you couple that with changeups, which typically move down and into a righty coming from a righty or down and away to a righty coming from a lefty, you can sometimes get him to roll over some, which I think is happening. Bronx Bomber says, Aaron Judge's pace, 65 home runs, 130 RBIs. Carpenter's pace, 61 and 131. I don't think it's going to end up that way, though, because, as we mentioned with Carpenter, he's only played in about, He's only got like 25, 20, 30 at-bats. Can't have that. Can't continue that kind of power for the entire season. No way. One Tally Rand says DJ is chasing more than usual. I don't have the stats in front of me. Let's pull up his baseball savant. We'll just go on a little fact-finding mission about DJ LeMahieu right quick. Bear with me just 1 second. Now it's going to take a second to load. All right. So when I look at this, I see the exit velocity is pretty good. 62nd percentile, that's above average. I mean, honestly, I see a pretty good player here. 75th percentile in max exit velocity, hard hit percentage is above average, expected slugging and expected batting average, all really good. It looks like he's not barreling that many balls, 32%. And that, like I said, if it's hard to barrel a ball when it's up here or it's in the dirt. So they're pitching him up and down. Whiff percentage is pretty good. Chase rate is above average. And obviously defensively, 92 percentile, 92nd percentile, and outs above average. So, he's doing a nice job. If you look at his spray chart, the one thing you don't see many balls pulled, right? He's shooting everything to right field. Occasionally you hit it out, and if he hits it to left field, he tends to hit it out of the ballpark or hit it very deep. Got a couple down the line, but he just doesn't get a lot of base hits right here. So he's kind of taking that Derek Jeter approach where he sits back. Let's take a look at a couple of our players while we're looking at this thing. I think it'll be interesting to look at Isaiah Kiner-Falefa because he's hitting 275 roughly. But when you look at his Statcast numbers, they suggest that he's a really bad hitter. Average exit velocity is very low. Max exit velocity is very low. Hard hit percentage is very low. But he just happens to hit them where they ain't. That old school philosophy. He's what they would call a punch and Judy hitter. And I think he's been effective. And what I like is the whiff percentage. He makes contact when he swings. And he's got speed, something the Yankees haven't had for a while. And then look at his spray chart. All over the place. Let's see what Jose Trevino has, because he's another guy that we didn't really expect much from him when he came to the Yankees this year. He was kind of seen as like an afterthought, a person that you put in there because Ben Rortvedt was injured. You see his framing in the 100th percentile of the league. I mean, that's incredible. You know, you got this guy off the scrap heap for nothing. Mag's exit velocity, 60th percentile. He doesn't have enough at bats to really qualify in all the other areas. Let's take a look at his actual exit velocity, 87.9 miles an hour, which is slightly below league average, with the max being 109.4. So, I think he's doing his job defensively. He's obviously doing his job offensively. Frankie Baseball says Judge's baseball savant would be classified as porn. Well, grab your lotion, baby, because we are going to take a look. Look at those numbers. Oh, my God. Oh.
Say that's me and his money.
Average exit velocity, weighted expected on base average. I think that's what that is. All these numbers, all these letters. Max exit velocity, expected batting average. Everything is like, top of baseball. I wish they had his arm strength on here compared to the rest of baseball, because he's got gun too. And look at the spray chart. Look how many balls he's hit out of the... And that probably doesn't include the one from tonight. It might. Let's see. Yeah, he's got 25 home runs in Statcast, so this is up to date, but I'm not sure if they update the spray chart in real time. So, I mean, this is... Leroy says, it puts a lotion in the basket. All right, let's take a look at Aaron Hicks. I honestly haven't looked at his yet, so I don't even know what it looks like. Yeah, that's pretty much what you'd expect. The walk percentage is in the 98th percentile, chase rate in the 91st percentile. Those have been his strengths for a long time. He's got 2 home runs. That one was left-handed. That one was right-handed. You see, he's got a lot of, shallow singles. Doesn't hit a lot of balls deep to the gaps. This one was a single. I think he got thrown out going to second. He did rip a double down the line. Is it possible he just has one double? Is that possible? Let's take a look at his standard stats here. He's got 1 double in 53 games. Jesus, that's bad. Outfielder jump, not what you want from your center fielder. That's why he shifted over to the left. Yeah, just not looking good. 6% barrel rate. Let's take a look at the other guy who catches a lot of flack, Joey Gallo. Parks and Young says Hicks is so bad at situational hitting. Yeah, it's getting ugly at this point.
Agree.
Now, Joey Gallo, he's at least got the max exit velocity and the hard hit percentage. But I honestly agree with what John Smoltz said the other day. One of the few things I agree with him on, which is that you really do need to factor in the amount of misses when you factor in, hard hit percentage and exit velocity average. If a guy hits 2 balls 100 plus miles an hour out of 10, but then strikes out the other 8 times, right now that shows him as having 100 plus mile an hour exit velocity, when really it should be like, I don't know, math to be less. I don't really math. I'm sorry. That's Nelson laughing at me. All right, anybody else you guys want to look at? Let's take a look at Anthony Rizzo, see how he's doing on Statcast. All right. That's a great picture of Rizzo there. It's almost Ichiro-like the way he sets up. So average exit velocity is right in the middle of the pack, 51st percentile, 92nd percentile of max exit velocity. Pretty good at avoiding the strikeout. Pretty good at avoiding the whiff. Chase rate's about league average, a little below. I'm surprised at this. The defense hasn't been great. And he's not running well, but he's still stealing bags. He's stolen third base 3 times this year, I believe. And, I mean, the power has been great. I mean, look where these home runs are landing. These are not cheapies. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from him so far. Let's take a look at Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson actually got pretty high exit velocity, hard hit percentage. I feel like he's had some atom balls, 230 average, but a 330 on base percentage. If you're OBP is 100 points higher than your batting average. That's pretty good. You'll take it. 718 OPS. Honestly, he could be a little bit better. Sprint speed, he doesn't really run that well anymore. Whiff percentage is not great, but defensively he's been pretty solid. 78th percentile. Now that's clearly all at third base for him. You saw that DJ LeMahieu was in the 92nd percentile of outs above average, but that takes into account second base, first base, all that stuff. So, all right, guys, one more time from John Sterling before we get out of here.
Yankees win. The Yankees win.
More of that, please.
Frankie says, let's see Derek's baseball, Savant. Unfortunately, not good enough. It would be all zeros, all blue, baby. I'll see you next time.